Are you ready to expand your life and reality? Join us for the next hour with Jamie Bates as she shares life changing thoughts, techniques, and awarenesses to help you expand your reality.
Hello and welcome. I am Jamie Bates, consciousness facilitator and expander of realities. My mission with my radio show is to create greater awareness of what is possible and to expand you beyond the limitations of this reality. I am grateful that you're joining me today. And today I'm talking about when you're evolving and your partner isn't. What are some of the things that you can do and some of the things that you shouldn't do to really be the invitation to change without losing your mind, right? Now, if you're in this place where you've really been consciously evolving, you're really getting the concept that your thoughts create your reality, and that you really are in this place where you're giving up a lot of those negative patterns and you're with someone who isn't quite there yet. Um, what do you do, and what don't you do? What should you really stay away from? This is a really interesting subject. I help people with this all the time, and I say the same things over and over and over often. And it's like, and I'm gonna say this from a place where it's like, okay, so as we dive into this, I think one of probably the most important thing to really get about this is your partner's gonna get it when they get it, and you're gonna get it when you get it, right? And if you're in a space where you're kind of fighting against the people around you, that's also too something within you that really needs to change. So as we really dive into this, mostly what we really want to look at here is, yes, we can look at ways to kind of soften the blow from your partner, right? And really invite them into desiring change as well. But really, mostly what you really have to look at is what thoughts are you thinking and what are you internalizing about their experience that's creating it even harder on you. So we are really going to dive into that because that's a big part of this, a big part of releasing and not making it significant what your partner is choosing is really looking at what is it that you're holding on to that's still really solidifying this place where you're having upset with what they're choosing. Yeah. So there's a lot of pieces and parts here within this, and so we're going to kind of dive into all of those today. So before we really get started, we're going to make sure that we are expanded all the way out because we really truly want to change the energy space and consciousness in which we're functioning in, and that's really what we're doing here in this whole show, right? Is we're expanding ourselves beyond the limitations of this reality. So we're getting out of a lot of these constructs where we're stuck in these old belief systems and these old paradigms and these old ideas, and we're shifting that energy around them. And expanding is a big part of that. So if you've been listening to the radio show for a while, or if you're just even starting to listen to the radio show, expanding is my number one go-to tool. I've been having a lot of people ask me lately, what is the number one tool? If you could give anybody anything, what would that be? And that would really truly be expanding. And I want to say I kind of lump these all together, but somebody's recently brought it to my attention that what I say is expanding absolutely positively, but it really also has a lot of other components within it. And when you do all of the components together, it really creates a greater expansion of you. So today I wanted to kind of make sure, especially when we're dealing with um, with partners who we feel like aren't involving, right? And we're dealing with potentially maybe a lot of upset around that. Um, the most important thing here is to really make sure that you are staying present with you and you're being present with your body, right? And you're reducing the amount of time that you spend in upset in any way, shape, or form. Part of this whole evolving process is really truly staying out of any energy that doesn't work for you. And if you're in a relationship with someone and you feel like you're making these big huge strides and you're changing and shifting and you're moving on with your life and they are not, that can be a very, very super frustrating experience. I totally get it. I think I'm very blessed in this realm myself because I actually met my husband right around the same time that I really started doing this work myself. And although we've both have different periods where one of us has grown more than the other, and but we've always had this back and forth kind of like challenge with ourselves, right? Like, I'm doing this, I feel like he should be doing it, or he's doing this, he feels like I should be doing it. And we've really, really mastered, I'm going to say, kind of a delicate balance between allowance and acceptance to what the other person is going through, and not making it about us, and not really making it wrong in any way, shape, or form. And I'm going to dive into all of those, but the again, going back to the most important thing that I've really learned to master in this whole experience with going back and forth with all of this is really myself, right? Really mastering myself. And what has been the foundational tool for me is really truly becoming present with me, becoming present with my body, becoming present with my breath, really becoming present with the energy, space, and consciousness of who I be. And that's really within the expanding, that's really what I feel like is so fundamental, because when you expand, right? And we're going to kind of go through it today, right now. It's like, first and foremost, the first thing that you have to do is you have to slow down. You really do. You have to slow down. You have to start taking some nice deep breaths. When you go to that barriers down place and you start putting your barriers down, your barriers down, your barriers down, your barriers down, you really feel that melting around you, that melting of resistance that you've been holding up, that melting of maybe even upholding these paradigms of right and wrong and good and bad, right? And potentially maybe lots of paradigms of even frustration and upset. And, the list could go on and on and on, right? So when we go to that place and we start saying, barriers down, barriers down, barriers down. And then we even really start looking at expanding out. We really have to become present with who we be to really truly expand, right? Go out as big as, let's just do the building that you're in, go all the way out and all the way down and all the way up, and take a nice deep breath and go ahead and expand out as big as let's just do the city that you're in. Go all the way out and all the way down and all the way up. Really, 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 as you're doing this, just really becoming present with your body, even if it's just to really feel the way that your breath affects your thought processes, just really feeling the way that your body starts relaxing as you expand out bigger. Go ahead and make yourself as big as the state that you're in. Go all the way out and all the way down and all the way up. And go ahead and make yourself as big as the country that you're in. You go all the way out as big as the country, all the way down, and all the way up. And nice deep breath as you're becoming more and more space. And go ahead and make yourself as big as the planet that you're on. And as you're doing this, really, really, really feel how much more space you're taking up. Just your being, remember, not your body. We're just expanding out our beings all the way through the planet that we're on. Bigger, faster, bigger, faster, bigger, faster, bigger, faster. Becoming one with everyone and everything. Really taking some nice deep breaths. And the universe We're going to go all the way out and all the way down and all the way up. In the multiverse, multiple universes. And we're going to times that by a million, times that by a million, times that by a million, times that by a million. Nice deep breath and all the way out to the space of who you be as the infinite being that you be. Awesome. So expanding out, really, this whole process, I don't know if you can feel it in your body, but when I expand out, one of the things that I start really perceiving going on through my being is kind of this vortexing energy, right? This vortex kind of goes through my very being. I can feel it all the way out. I can feel it all the way through my body, and it goes all the way out and all the way out through my being. And what this really does for me personally is it really kind of grounds me, and it really brings me back to the present moment, right? So we're talking about when you're evolving and your partner isn't. I'm going to go back to, like, I get it. I know how very frustrating and upsetting that can be uh, in your daily life when you feel like you're making positive changes, or you're doing things differently, and you're on this road to really truly changing your life, and you feel like they aren't. And the thing to really get here is we can't make our partners wrong for what they're choosing in this very moment, because we don't really truly know the big picture of what it is that they are going through. And when you kind of back up from that situation and you can see where, I mean, any type of emotional upset that you're having over what they're choosing is really an energy that is creating a projection, let me say, creating a projection of wrongness towards them. And if you're projecting wrongness at them, that's just about the same as continuing to create it in your own life. Yeah, and everything, all of that is. And all of that, 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 all of that. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of the universes? And can we just choose that now? And all we're going to do here is move the energy around with that. And let's just go ahead and vaporize, 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 vaporize. Nice deep breath. Now, if you've never actually listened to my show before, all we're doing when we vaporize is we're just releasing the energy. We're releasing the solid viewpoints around the energy that I'm talking about, so you can have a different possibility, so you can have a different choice. Yeah, we're just going to keep vortexing that all the way through and 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 all the way through. You know, the space that we're really looking to become in our evolving process is really the space of what we really truly desire to create in our life, right? If you're evolving, if you're really truly on this path to consciousness and awareness, the most important thing in your life right now currently should be creating the space that you desire for your life to feel like. Period. This isn't about anyone else. This isn't about, um, uh, your partner. This isn't about your children. This isn't about your neighbor. This isn't about your boss at work. This is truly about creating an environment that you can thrive in. And this is what I stress often to people is, if you focus on creating the life that works for you, if you focus on creating the experience that you're looking to have here, what happens is either people align and agree within that experience and start actually creating that experience for themselves, or they resist and react in it in a way where they leave your life. And here's the thing, if you're in a relationship with someone and you decide they're not going to change, it's one thing, right? If you decide, oh, they're never going to be different, they're never going to change, um, I'm going to have to leave them. Those are all based on viewpoints. See, the thing is that you want to become here, especially when we're talking about the person that you're spending your life with, is you want to become the invitation to something greater for them. You want to stand in exactly what you want to create so firmly, so strongly, so definely that they look at where you're at and what's going on for you, and they either love that and want to create that for their own lives, or that repels the crap out of them and they take off and you never see them again. Maybe not never see them again, but yeah, everything all of that is, and all of the resistance to that, can we just choose to remove all of that from all of the universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. So often I talk to people about this and they go right to that space where they feel scared, like, oh no, what happens if, my partner decides to never evolve? Well, then your partner chooses to never evolve. Like, that really doesn't have anything to do with you. And I know that that's hard to kind of separate yourself and really kind of stand in this place where you get that, like, your life is going to move forward with or without them. And I really don't want to make this the focus of the show today, but I do really want to really kind of clear that fear there, because I feel like so many people get caught up in looping and that idea that they're scared that their partner isn't going to come, or they're scared that if they evolve to a certain point, their partner is going to leave them, or all of these fears come up within that. Everything, all of that is right there. And let's go all the way down and all the way down and all the way down and all the way down. Everything, all of that is. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of the universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. I mean, I get that. I totally get that. But I also get that when you're evolving and you're shifting and you're changing and you're interested in creating the best life that you can possibly have, and if that means that the current partner that you have doesn't fit in a life that's truly going to be in alignment with you, why would you even want to stay with that person anyways? And I know we have all these points of view about all of the time and space and everything it's going to take to, have separation and divorce. And that's really what freaks you out. And I'm not even sitting here saying that you even have to get a divorce. Or, I mean, who knows what any of that looks like? That's all based on point of view. None of that's real and true. I'm just going to kind of vortex that out. But what we really want to look at here is when you're evolving, what you really truly want to focus on is your life and what you want to create your life as, and your experience as you're moving through this reality. Making your partner wrong, blaming and shaming them for not, creating change like you are, um, isn't going to help them create anything different. Harboring fear about what's going to happen in the future of your relationship, feeling sorry for yourself because you're making strides and they're not. None of that's going to help you actually propel your life forward. It's just going to keep you in that perpetual stance of actually not evolving any greater for yourself. Everything, all of that is. And all of that, 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 all of that. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of the universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. Holding space for things that don't work for you. are never actually going to create something different in your life. And so, as I'm looking at this and as we're really kind of walking through this, one of the things that I really want you to get out of is this idea that you have to decide right now if your partner is going to be good enough for you as you evolve or not. That, a- again, that's you never know. You don't know what path your partner is on. You do not know what struggles they are going to be coming up against. You do not know what energies they are fighting inside of themselves. And every time you start judging based on, well, I can't move forward because they do this and they do that and they create this and they upset me here and they make me mad here and this and this and that and this and that, it's not helping either one of you create something different. You know, we talk a lot about the universe and the energy that you're telling the universe. Okay, so one of the things that I really get in relationship is if I want, I'm going to use my personal examples here, right? If I want my husband to take out the trash and he doesn't, and I'm pissed off or upset that he doesn't take out the trash, and then every night I'm mad and I go to the space where I'm like, oh, he's taking out the trash, and I'm angry about that over and over and over. The exact message I am sending him is, don't take out the trash, because I am putting so much emphasis on that energy. And that's often what I see people do. They get so frustrated with their partner's patterns that over and over and over they get madder and angrier and angrier and angrier, right? And they're repeatedly telling their partner, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And I look at their universe and it's just like completely planted with all of this energy of what they want around relationship, and it exists within, doesn't take out the garbage, doesn't do this, doesn't give me the affection I require, doesn't give me the the space I need, all of these things that they feel like their partner is lacking in is exactly the very true thing that they are holding space to exist within their relationship. When someone makes you wrong, right? When someone tells you that you're doing something wrong over and over and over and over and over, does that make you want to change your behavior? No, it just creates a more frustration and upset for yourself, right? It just makes you want to punch them in the face every time you see them. Someone's consistently complaining at you about all of the things that they feel like you don't do right. It definitely doesn't create a change in yourself. But instead of focusing on that energy when you go to the space where, like for me, I love to have a clean house. I like things to be tidy. I enjoy when, I go to the garbage and it's not overflowing, right? I like it when the bag has room in it still. So what I want to go to is I want to start celebrating the things I do love. Okay? I love to have an empty garbage can. I love it when the garbage can isn't overflowing. So I'm going to start taking proactive steps, and I'm going to celebrate, number one, when the garbage can isn't overflowing. And I'm not going to do it from a space where I'm making anyone wrong, right? I'm going to do it from a space where it's like, yay, there's a brand new garbage bag in there. It's not overflowing. It's super exciting. And I'm also going to take proactive steps where I'm going to preempt things. So often, especially in relationship, especially if it's a relationship we've been in for a long time with someone, right? We have these repeat patterns that we are continuously kind of perpetrating. And a lot of times, um, we hold space for frustration. I know that seems really kind of a silly thought, but if you've been in a relationship with someone for a really long time and a majority of your relationship has been based on frustration and based on this cycling and these kind of upset energies with each other, that's one of the space that you hold for each other. So that's a really hard construct to shift. you really consciously have to start telling yourself, actually, I don't actually like to be upset. I don't like to feel this feeling of being angry at you. It's not fun for me. I mean, really, who wants to be angry with other people all the time? If you're really truly looking to evolve your life, if you're looking to really truly change your patterns, that's one of the things you really have to give up. You really have to look at, what is it that I am creating in this relationship that is upholding this other person continually repeating these same patterns. Yeah, everything, all of that is all of that, 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 all of that. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. And we're just going to vortex that through. You have to look at, what space are you holding for them? Are you expecting them to frustrate you? As I was going through this with my husband, I started to realize that there was a lot of places and spaces in my life that I held a certain energy, space, and consciousness for him to disappoint me. I expected him to disappoint me. And then when I started really looking at that, I'm like, well, no wonder he can't do anything different. I'm holding a space of expectation for him to disappoint me. Wow, that was a really truly eye-opening moment for me. And once I could really see that, I started to see throughout my whole day all of the places and spaces where I expected him to disappoint me. And you know what happened is, when I started clearing that, and when I really started becoming conscious of, like, okay, well, instead of expecting him to not take out the garbage and then being mad about it, I could just take out the garbage. Yeah, everything, all of that is, can we just choose to remove all of that from all of universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. One of the things I always urge people to get into is this space where you start to realize there's what works for you and there is what doesn't work for you. Okay. As you're through this process of evolving, as you're through this process of waking up and creating something different, right? There's what works for you, and then there's what doesn't. And what you want to focus on is what works for you. And when something happens in your home, when something happens in your life, when something happens in your relationship, and it's something that you don't desire to happen any longer, you call that out. You know what? That doesn't actually work for me. What I would like to create, what I'm looking to create in my life, is an energy of this. So that looks like, okay, so we're looking at like even going back to, okay, maybe you've been gone all day and maybe your partner's been home all day and you come home and the house is in shambles and nothing is done, and you instantaneously start to feel yourself becoming this huge ball of frustration. Right there, you want to stop. You want to take some nice deep breaths. You want to make sure that you expand all the way out. You want to get all the way into your body. And I do suggest that you get better at preempting this, like you do that before you even get home, right? You do that before you even walk into the environment. So you are in that space of you before you even have a chance to jump into the energy of upset or frustration. And then from there, you start really looking at, what does work for me? Because let me tell you right now, every single time you go back to choosing that energy of frustration, every time you go to that energy of anger, that energy of upset, that energy of frustration, what happens? You reproject that energy back out into your universe. You cover everyone involved in the situation in that energy. And it's mentally draining, right? Every time you go through one of those episodes where you get frustrated and you get angry and you get upset and you throw all that energy out there, then you spend like the next day feeling exhausted from the emotional upset that you just put your body and your life through. Or you just choose something different. You realize that doing that, creating that behavior is actually not going to change anything. It doesn't matter how angry you get. It doesn't matter how much you yell and scream and throw a fit. It doesn't matter how much frustration you create. It's not going to change the present moment. What is going to change the present moment is your reaction. You come home, you see the whole house is a shambles, everything's a mess, you and you start to feel that frustration bubble up, and instead you go, you know what? No, actually, I'm not going to choose to be frustrated today. Frustration doesn't actually work for me. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to choose it. And you just choose something different. And I know how very extremely hard that can feel like it is. And for me, it's like I get that we're functioning in structures and constructs of frustration and anger and upset. So I'm not going to say that you may not even be in an energetic space right now where you can just choose to choose something different. And I get it because I've been there. And that's exactly why I've created so many programs and so many clearing audios, because I know firsthand what those structures feel like. I know when you get angry and all of a sudden you can do nothing else, like you literally cannot control your response. I've been there, I've done that, I've felt that. I help people every single day choose something different. See, the thing that we have to get about this is you have been programmed to respond in that way. It's not that you're a bad person. It's not that the people that you're around are bad people. You have literally been programmed, energetically programmed to respond a certain way. And when you release and remove those energetic programs, you get to choose a different response. And if you're in a place right now where you literally cannot choose a different response, if I could, I invite you into really truly diving into those constructs. Right now, I have a Patreon account. You can go to patreon.com. It's like Patreon. On my Patreon account, I have almost my complete series of Playing with Polarity. Playing with Polarity is a series I did, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago now, and that was a series of clearings that I used personally on myself to reduce the polarity that I was feeling in my life, because I used to really, really function in a ton of anger and a ton of frustration and a ton of upset. Okay, I used to cycle in that like nobody's business. And when I started doing coaching, I started to see that, I mean, everyone I was coaching, like this is part of what is ingrained in our DNA makeup. This is part of our matrix system. And what I realized was I was doing the same series of clearings with everyone, right? Everyone was going through the same emotional upset. So I created a whole program. This program took me like, I don't know, probably like 8 or 9 months to finish. And it's probably not my best work in the whole wide world. But I will tell you that it is raw, it is vulnerable, it is emotional, it is a journey. Releasing yourself from those emotional constructs is a journey. And it is one that is worth its weight in gold. Because as hard as that struggle is to release yourself from those emotional paradigms, the reward at the other end of it is amazing. When you no longer have to choose frustration and upset, when you see your little kids' face when they expect you to explode and you don't anymore, and the change that it starts to create in your family and in your life, when you are no longer losing your crap about everything, there's no amount of space I can tell you that gives you. When you're a mom and you're feeling so overwhelmed and overworked and overtired and over frustrated and over angry, and you start clearing that out, and I think that's probably the thing that I love the best about this work is the thing is you don't have to dive into every single area. You can actually listen to a clearing and you can actually change your life. And if you've been listening to this radio show for any amount of time, you should be able to really palpable feel the change that's going on in your body. And I'm going to tell you right now, if this radio show has been changing your life, that set of clearings that is in that Patreon right now, you can join my Patreon for $9.99 a month or $19.99 a month. Super duper affordable. Okay. When you listen to those clearings, just listen to those clearings, they change the energy, space, and consciousness of who you be dynamically. And when you start shifting and changing and you start responding differently, your whole entire life changes. Yeah, and everything, all of that is all of that, 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 all of that. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of the universes? And can we just choose that now? Vaporize, 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 vaporize. You know, one of the things that I know about this work is when I changed myself and when I really started choosing the change for me, right? And I started demanding, like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to feel frustrated anymore. I don't want to feel upset anymore. You know, I'm going to go back to, I know how hard it is when you are in relationship with someone and you feel like they're not changing or they're not choosing what you're choosing. But when you continue to make that significant, you just further prolong the suffering for each one of you. Everything, all of that is, can we just choose to remove all of that from all of the universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. I want to say that one more time for the Patreon. It's www.patreon.com. For $19.99 a month, $9.99 a month, you can listen to a series of dynamic clearings to really truly get you out of that looping of emotional upset. It's really truly one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself, you can give your life. When you stop reacting in anger and upset and and all of that like intense feeling of overwhelm, when you stop functioning in that, not only do you change your life, you change everyone's life around you. You become the invitation to something greater. You know, one of the the patterns that I see a lot in people when they're in relationship with someone and they're evolving and they feel like their partner isn't, they go to a lot of this feeling sorry for themselves, right? It's a lot of this like, oh, well, what's wrong with me? What's, they don't love me. That's why they're not choosing more. They don't this, like they again, like that internalization of what their partner is choosing and making it about them. And I'm going to tell you one more time, what's going on for your partner isn't about you, it's about them. If you truly, truly want to change a relationship and want to be the invitation to them evolving and them choosing change and them creating something different for their life, you become the invitation. Everything, all of that is right there. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of the universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. Stop projecting at them that what they're doing or what they're choosing is not right or is not acceptable or is all of these things that you have decided that they are. Realize that every single one of your thoughts, every single one of your actions is creating the very way that your life is showing up. Be the invitation to something greater. Don't make anyone wrong for anything that they're choosing. Decide what you want your life to be like and start living that. Everything that doesn't allow that for you, can we just choose to remove all of that from all of the universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. And I get it. I know that it's really easy to fall into that space where you feel like, okay, so if I am going to start just choosing what I want my life to feel like, that means I'm going to have to maybe do a lot of things initially that I don't want to do because, I think so often we get, especially if you've been in a partnership for a long time, right? There's things that you maybe depend on your partner to do that you feel like they're lacking in, and maybe you feel like you have to kind of yell and scream and ask a million times before the things that you want them to get done. Or you can just choose to do it yourself. And I know that initially that feels like, okay, well, if I just start choosing to do it myself, then why am I even in relationship? And if they're not going to help and if they're not going to do this, then what's the point? Blah, 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 blah. I get it. But I also get when I started doing it myself, and when I started finding the joy within myself, and I started really choosing the things that I wanted and saying, okay, that's fine, I'll just do it myself. And I started holding that space of joy. What ended up happening was the contribution started happening in other ways, right? My partner started showing up, doing the things. Not only did my partner start showing up, my kids started showing up and helping because they enjoyed so much more the mom that was showing up that wasn't frustrated and irritated all the time. I was telling someone the other day, I have right now currently in my home I have a 14-year-old and a 15-year-old. And we have so much joy in my house. I have a 19-year-old as well, but she doesn't live at home anymore. She lives in Chicago, so she's not here with us all the time, right? She doesn't live in my home, but I hear people say all the time, oh gosh, you have teenage girls, or I have teenage girls, and it's so frustrating and so upsetting, and there's always arguing. And I heard somebody say the other day that they had taken their teenage daughter's door off, and that, because she was slamming it all the time, and that, all of these things. And I think, like, I have never had those problems, ever. I've never had the issues in my life with my children, as teenagers, anyways, where it has come to the point where I've had to take a door off because they've slammed it. I have, I can honestly, truly say, I have never had one of my teenagers slam a door, ever. I mean, the amount of laughter and joy that we have in my house is just unsurpassed. I mean, we laugh all the time. Last night it was like it was like 11:30 at night, and it's a school night, it's we probably all should have been in bed. Well, me and my daughters were in the living room, and we were literally laughing so hard I almost peed my pants, which happens, um, probably TMI, but it happens a lot in my house because we just really literally have so much joy. That's one of the things that I actively choose in my life is joy. Like that's like one of my main priorities. Ease and joy are my two main priorities. I want my life to be easy and I want it to be filled with joy. And you know what? I create that all the time. And initially, was it hard? And did I have to make a lot of choices that got me to this space? Absolutely. And was there a period where I felt alone and I felt like I was doing things all by myself? Yes. I'm not going to say there wasn't. But I did it with a smile. I found a way to make it joyful for myself. And what ended up happening was it changed everything. Because then I was celebrating having a clean home and having a peaceful existence and having an ease in life. And that just trickled over to every single person in my life. And I think I was very lucky because when I found consciousness, my kids were very, very young. And, I was tired of being that frustrated, upset, overwhelmed, angry person. I was so tired of it. I didn't even like any part of that. And then the emotional roller coaster that put me on, the acting out in anger and having those spurges of emotional upset, and then the exhaustion that came after it, and then the guilt and I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't be that person. And when I decided that I wasn't going to be anymore, and I was talking about this the other day with someone, it probably took me, I'm going to say, a good solid 6 months to even really truly start even becoming aware of all of the places and spaces where I was just auto responding in all of those emotional upsets. And when I found consciousness work and I started really diving into clearing, and I decided I was clearing this out for myself, I didn't care anymore. Like the struggle just wasn't worth it any longer. And then when I started working with people and I started seeing and I started inviting them into that space, and I started really truly seeing the true power that holds for other people as well. It's like anything else you've ever experienced before. When you become the true master of your reality, it no longer matters what anyone else chooses. And again, when we're looking at this area of when you're involving and your partner isn't, you have to give up anywhere where you have decided that your partner has to. Again, you create this space for yourself. You decide what you want your life to feel like. You start making the demand that you show up and you create that. And either your partner is going to go, you know what, I want to go with you. That looks like fun. Wow, you're having such a great time. I want that too. And they're going to start diving in with you. And at that point, you open up a dialogue of real, solid change. Over the years, me and my husband have been through so many periods where, we've had those conversations where I'm like, you know what, what you're doing right now doesn't work for me. And there's been plenty of times where my husband has gotten so mad at me and I've just allowed him to be. It's okay. You can be angry with me, whatever. That's not mine, that's yours. And I can say the complete opposite. There's been plenty of times where my husband has said, "You know what? That doesn't work for me." And and not from a space of being angry or mad or upset, because it's really from the space where it's like, "You know what? That doesn't work for me. This is how I'm going to do it. This is what works for me. This is what I'm going to choose. This is what I'm going to do." And again, not doing it in that like angry mean way. Just doing it just like that. There's no wrongness, and that's what I went over a million times. I don't have to make you wrong so I can be right. I'm just going to say the way that I prefer is this way, and this is how I'm going to choose to do it. And if you don't want to, that's okay. You don't have to. I don't have to help you create anything that you don't want to create. You don't have to be or do anything that you don't want to be or do. And then you choose for you, and you start creating what you want to have. And if they desire that, they see that, they go, "Oh my gosh, I love what you're doing. I love what you're choosing. Let's create that. Help me create that for myself." Then great, they're going to jump on board, or they're going to go, "You know what? You're crazy. I hate you. I hate this that you're doing. This doesn't make any sense. I'm leaving." Either way, you're on your path to finding what works for you. Everything, all of that is all of that, 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 all of that. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. And just let that go. Let that go. Let that go. What other people choose is none of your business. And that's probably one of the most important lessons you're going to get if you're evolving. So what other people choose isn't about you, it's about them. And what they want to do with their life is their choice. And I've had people say, "Yeah, but this is my life too." And I get that. I totally get that. Because I've been there. I know. I know that your lives are intertwined. I know that your lives are intertangled. And the faster that you choose you and you choose what works for you, the faster either that untangle is going to happen or they're going to come with you. But you absolutely, positively have to stop making them wrong in any way, shape, or form. Blame and shame is not going to create anything different. And you have to stop feeling sorry for yourself for them not showing up how you want them to. Awakening yourself is one thing. Expecting someone else to awaken is a completely different thing. You have no power and no choice over what other people choose in their life. There's what works for you and there's what doesn't. And the thing that we have to get is you are in this place because that is what you chose at one point in your life. If it doesn't work for you, that's part of the awakening process. Part of the awakening process is waking up to everything that doesn't work for you in your life anymore. So allow yourself to wake up. Allow yourself to release the patterns that don't work. Choose what does work and continue to expand and evolve your life. But don't base it on what someone else is choosing. Everything, all of that is. All of that, 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 all of that. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. I hope I kind of gave you a different point of view here to really start looking at for yourself. It's time to really choose to be that evolved person that lives a life that works for them. Your partner will come or they won't, but either way, you'll have freedom. If they come, you'll have that amazing expansion of going together, and if they don't, you'll have that amazing expansion of creating something that does. But either way, you win. Yeah. So I want to go over one more time. If you would like to connect with me on Patreon, really get your own emotional clearings out of the way, really, truly, really change your life. www.patreon.com. Really, you guys, that is probably the most life-changing series I have done to this point. Like I said, although the beginnings and some of the stories I tell, I have people still to this day that tell me all the time, when you said blah, 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 it changed my life. If you've been getting change from this series, from just listening to this radio show, I guarantee you will get massive change from that series. Check it out, www.patreon.com. You can also visit me online, www.jamie-bates.com. My book, The Empath's Guidebook to Consciousness and Awareness, is coming out next Tuesday. I probably should have talked a little bit about that today, but next Tuesday my book will be out. I have all kinds of things that I'm in the process of working on for launch that we are going to be doing, celebrating the next couple months. This amazing book that has some amazing tools. Pretty much a lot of my secrets are in there. A lot of the tools I use on a daily basis are all kind of compiled within that book. It will be on Amazon.com, be on BarnesandNoble.com. It's going to be out just in 6 more days from today. So it will be out April 6, 2019. Looking forward to that. Kiwi is too. One moment. Sorry about that. So really looking forward to getting that out there. And also, if you would like to join me on my Facebook group, expandyourreality.com, or just Expand Your Reality, I'm sorry. Or you can also listen to my complete radio show on expandyourreality.net. So thank you so much for listening to me today. And I will talk to you next week, as probably we will dive into some concept that's in my book, really kind of look at some different areas. I'm super excited. I hope you will join me on something soon in the future. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day. Bye.
You have been listening to Expand Your Reality with your host, Jamie Bates. Thank you for listening.